Hi, and welcome to this planning preview. We are going to be discussing items on the agenda for the December 7th Planning Commission meeting. I'm here with Jeff Schmidt from the Planning Office. And Jeff, I just had one quick question. There has been some discussions about some low impact developments around our community. Can you maybe go a little deeper with what that means exactly?
Sure, I can't remember if it was in the summer or in the fall, but they did the Big Sioux River Summit, and then they were talking about, is there an opportunity to do some low impact development? And then the Public Works Environmental team is going to go out and start looking at this. But it does come back over into our realm. Low impact development is really how you can look at stormwater and stormwater development. So the title that they put in, can you filtrate, evaporate, or infiltrate the stormwater? So it's not really development per se, but when you do land development, how do you take care of your stormwater? Other things that they've looked at is the sewer outflows, how the pollutants get discharged, stormwater permits, non-point solutions, water quality standards. Now that's all, everybody's sitting there going, they're probably asleep by now, but when you do then your development, how's your parking lots being laid out? How's the landscaping being done? The trees, the berms, the buildings where they're set. So it does impact the developments the way we look at them.
Right, and it's really no different than a development. I mean, it's just
Right,
a label that you put on it that
Correct.
it's just a...
And that's why I wanted to kind of bring it up, because people go, so low impact. I mean,
right.
No, it's just how do you want to look at, and it's really good sustainability, all these things that are the catchwords out there right now, and go, well, look at how you're doing your land, and should the water just rush off?
Right.
No, take care of the stormwater, the snow melt that we may be dealing with, as we get into these winter seasons, and where do you put your snow and how is it taken care of?
Again, nothing new. Nothing. No, it's just this has all been discussed and reviewed and looked
Correct.
at with every project.
Right, and we're not looking at really making drastic changes, but we want to start talking to the public and hearing from the public, so I thought I'd bring it up today.
Right, that sounds good.
Thank you.
Well, we do have a few items on the agenda that we are going to be discussing, but as always, if you have any questions or concerns with any of these items, please feel free to call the planning office anytime, and they will be happy to answer your questions. The first item on the agenda is a rezone from RS single family, office, and commercial to now a little bit higher density, C2 commercial, located on East 26th and South Cliff Avenue. This is on the northwest corner.
The northwest corner, right. We have zoned some of that property already, and again, it's an existing gas station that's doing an expansion. So they need the C2 to have a bigger gas station, but as they continue to get the parcels they need for their parking, their drainage, their landscaping, they're bringing in all the property they need.
Sounds good. All right, another item on the agenda is a rezone from the Conservation District to C2 Commercial and Live Work, and this is located at 2600 West 57th Street.
Again, we have a lot of rezonings on the agenda this time, but on the west side of Sioux Falls on 57th Street, there's a current conservation area which would possibly be used for drainage or detention, but they're adjusting their boundaries to get their commercial in as well as live work. And live work could be either apartments or it could be offices. So they'll still have their conservation in that area, but then they'd also be able to do some development in there.
All right, and as Jeff said, we do have a few rezones, and we have another one here. RD1 Twin Home Suburban District to C2 Commercial and Streetcar District for allowed forms at 4801 East Grant Street. Before we dive into this one, Streetcar District, I kind of understand the definition.
Yeah.
I think it's a really older definition
It is.
that's used,
Yep.
and so I thought maybe just tell
Sure.
whoever's listening out there what
We have in these commercial districts, we have the suburban and we have the streetcar, but the suburban really sets it up where the parking lots and the vehicles are all out in front, and the streetcar is that old-fashioned, more typical to Minnesota Avenue, but again on East Grant, it's where the buildings are more up front, or the lots, the developments are set up with the development and the lots more to the front and the parking's to the back. So
meaning more to the front, closer to the sidewalks, closer to the street.
To the streetcar.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So again, the way development was historically, especially on the east side of town, when the quarries were out on the east side of town, the trains, the streetcars used to go out on the east side of town, but then the businesses weren't to the car. So then the buildings were moved up and the people got out of the streetcars, they walked into the businesses, they came out. So that's the way the streetcar was set up. So
All right. I just thought that was kind of an
it's
interesting.
very, and again, they don't have to do it that way, but that's kind of the way we are able to describe it.
Right, that sounds good. And then do you want to go into this rezone, which is located at 4801 East Grant Street?
Yes, thank you for bringing me back, Andy. It's, again, on the east side of town, and it's a neglected area. It's a little bit older area, as we've just discussed. But since there's a transition between twin homes and apartments out there, there's also a lot of commercial in that area, and they're looking to expand some of the commercial area.
All right. And the next one is a rezone from C2 commercial and recreation districts to the C2 commercial and recreation districts. So this again looks like a rezone to the similar rezone.
Correct.
And it's located at 41st Street and South Veterans Parkway. So maybe just explain a little bit more.
Maybe a little bit of housekeeping. This is on 41st Street and Veterans Parkway. It's the Harmondon Park area where the baseball diamonds are. And on the vacant parcel that's there right now, north of the diamonds, they're starting to put in their commercial land development. So between the area that they've set aside for conservation and the area that they've started to put their commercial on, they have to adjust those boundaries and get the commercial land property set.
All right, so nothing major really, like you
No.
said, just to clean up.
Nobody's going to ever notice it because it's already zoned commercial, but the property lines are just transitioning, and it's a balancing.
Right. All right, and then the next one, rezone from Conservation District to the RS Single Family Residential, located at 3201 South Nican Court.
The graphics really help with that one, showing where this is at and what it's doing, but it's allowing for a residential single family. So RS is that single family, and then once it's zoned to that, can they build a home on that property?
All right. And another rezone from RT1 Single Family District to Live Work, located at 523 North Duluth Avenue.
So on North Duluth Avenue, RT is residential traditional. They're the older lots, smaller lots.
Smaller lots, right?
Yep. But they're requesting to go to Live Work, and as we've described already, Live Work is the opportunity to have apartments or have higher density as well as to have office. So that's their request.
All right. And the next one is another rezone from the Ag District to RA2 Apartment, Modern Density, on the corner of West 85th Street and South Brett Avenue.
This is Southwest Sioux Falls, west of Louise Avenue, Brett, and 85th Street. It's on the south side. There's a small little portion of property on the south side there that's still ag. And so everything else around there is pretty much developed, and they're putting in a request to put in some apartments.
All right, that sounds like that one makes sense as well. Another rezone from office to live work, located at 1001 South Sertoma Avenue.
On Sertoma Avenue, this is about 22nd Street, 18th Street, and Sertoma Avenue, and the property's office, but they're looking at their options. So as we've talked multiple times today, can you do live work? And the work portion is office, but the live portion is could you do apartments also? So that's their request.
It just really expands what they can do with that location.
Right.
Another one is a rezone from ag to office, located at 8300 West 48th Street.
West 48th Street and 8400 is about Ellis Road, T Road on the west side of town. So it's on 48th Street where it fronts, but it's also further west on Ellis. And so it's existing ag. If it remains that way, that's always the thought. If it's this, then it remains. If it changes, then you have this option. So if it remains ag, they can do farming operations. If it converts, then they can build an office building.
All right. And the last one on the agenda is a conditional use for on-sale alcohol within 500 feet of a sensitive use, and this is located at 2601 South Ellis Road.
Further to the north from the one we just talked about, we're at 48th Street. This is about 36th Street and Ellis Road. And so an on-sale alcohol establishment, since there's already existing houses out there, it's within 500 feet, they'd have to have a conditional use. If it was further away, if it was 600 feet away, they would not have to do a conditional use. And then at Planning Commission, this is the only conditional use we have this month, you're able to put some conditions on it. And then what we always talk about with the applicant and the stakeholders are the conditions enforceable? To make sure that they're something that we can go out there and conform with and make sure that we can understand and the applicant can understand and then enforce. But at the same time, you don't ever want to discriminate against somebody and make this applicant do something that you want make somebody else do.
Absolutely. You just want to make it work really for the people around that
Correct.
area as well as
anybody else.
The applicant or anybody else.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, that was kind of quick and down and dirty. But again, if you have any questions on these agenda items, please feel free to contact the planning office at 367-8888. There are times when the agenda can change and items can be removed, deferred, those types of things. So again, if you're planning on coming to the meeting on December 7th, at Carnegie Town Hall at 6 p.m. Please feel free to contact the office beforehand. Thanks for joining us.